Go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Benton. This is the oral comment session for the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Today is June 2nd, 2021. I'm a commissioner for the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I'm the interpreter representative for the state of Arizona, and I've been on the commission for, this is my third year. I'd like to introduce the other individuals who are present at the meeting. These are staff members from the commission. We have Carmen Green Smith, who is the deputy director for the commission. Thanks for being here, Carmen.
Good morning.
Emmett Hassan, the licensing and certification coordinator for the commission. Thank you, Emmett. We have Victoria Vaughn, the interpreter assessment coordinator for the commission.
Hello.
We also have Kyla Dalton Neva, who is the assistant to the executive director, doing lots of behind the scenes work. And we have Jeremy McCown, the IT support analyst, who's helping to make all the technical parts of this flow smoothly. So thank you to all of the commission staff for helping to make this happen. We also have 2 interpreters and a captioner present with us today. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Carmen Greensmith.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. The purpose of our meeting today, as Commissioner Benton stated, is for the oral comment session related to interpreter licensure. For those of you who have been keeping this issue on the radar, you know today we're here to talk about legal aid certifications and provisional licensure as was impacted by COVID, and the steps that the commission has taken after hearing from members of the public about the impact of COVID and what licensure issues may need to be addressed because of that. We ended our oral comments, our written comment session ended on May 30th at 5 p.m. So again, today is our oral comment session, and we have individuals that have participated for the oral comment session and submitted comments that we will read, and we may also entertain those who desire to give a live comment on today. So again, thank you very much for being present with us, and we will move forward from here and begin our oral comment session. I want to double check with staff just to make sure that I've not missed anything in our announcement or in our summary. Does everything seem clear? Victoria, Emmett? Okay, Commissioner Benton, everything? Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to turn it over to Emmett, and we're going to, he's going to share his screen and talk about where we are at this particular point with the legal aid licensure issues.
And this is Jeremy. David Swabota has entered our meeting.
Thank you.
David, please turn your camera off for now. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had the wrong slides. Okay, can you see hopefully you can see the slides. All right. So I'm in the trust, I'm trying to remember to go through this slowly, but we're currently focusing on the rules. You see that in red. The current definitions there. In addition to the definitions in ARS section 2954, sorry, excuse the interpreter, whatever that section is, you see it there. Those definitions applies to the interpreters, meaning licensed interpreters who provide interpreting services in court proceedings or any other legal setting as prescribed under this section of the ARS 242 and meeting the certification requirements under 504A 1A. And individuals who are licensed by the commission as Class A legal interpreters on this date. This section takes effect, the date that the section takes effect, you have met the certification requirements. Or by June 1st, 2021. Excuse me, January 1st, 2021. So the next slide is going to be the proposed rule. So the last part is what I'm going to talk about, the part in red that you see there. It's replacing the language. So I'm going to read the whole section for formal proceeding reasons. Class A legal interpreters means a legal interpreter who provides interpreting in court proceedings or any legal setting as prescribed by Arizona Revised Statute 242 and meets the certification requirements under 504A1A. An individual who is licensed by the commission has a Class A legal interpreter license are those who meet the certification requirements under 26504(1)A, or an individual who is renewing under 26507A .23 in 2023. Sorry, excuse the interpreter. Sarah.
So at this time, we have some written comments that I will be reading. So the first one that I will read is from Raymond Basler. And these are the written comments related specifically to the legal A proposed language. Hello, my name is Raymond Basler, Baesler. I am a licensed interpreter in Arizona, and I have held my legal A license since 2017. I want to raise my concerns, as I have for many years, regarding the proposed change to legal A licensing requirements. I earned legal A license under the rules that existed in 2017 that allowed interpreters with certain RID certifications who completed numerous hours of additional legal training to obtain a legal A license without an additional legal certification. The most recent change to the rules for legal A licensure added an additional certification requirement for those who were already licensed and successfully doing legal interpreting work in Arizona. While the current proposed change extends the deadline for obtaining that legal certification, it does not address what I believe to be the larger issues. The additional requirement of legal certification places an unnecessary burden on interpreters who have already attained legal A licensure under the previous rules. This includes the cost of additional testing, and because RID no longer offers a legal certificate, the need to maintain continuing education units in an additional certification system. A more important consideration is the impact this change will have on the deaf community across Arizona. Many interpreters who hold legal A licensure will be reduced to a legal C license after the proposed deadline. For various reasons, many are unable or unwilling to pursue additional certification. As a result, the already small pool of legal A interpreters in the state will be further reduced. I urge the commission to use this rulemaking opportunity to add a grandfather clause, allowing those who already hold a legal A license to keep that license without additional requirements so they can continue to provide communication access in legal matters for the deaf community in this state. So I would like to thank Raymond Basler for submitting his comment, and your comments are duly noted. The next comment that has been received is from Robert Hahn, Hahn. As both a law-trained and mental health-trained professional, it concerns me that steps are being taken to limit significantly the number of legal interpreters that would be able to provide services to deaf residents of Arizona. Acquaintances and clients have expressed concerns regarding the due process issues of not having interpretive services on a timely basis, as well as the anxiety and distress of knowing that there may be delays in the resolution of legal issues. It is rare that professional organizations and governing bodies choose not to grandfather in professionals that are already competently providing services during rule changes. I personally have seen grandfathering occur in several instances, including here in Arizona, when the Board of Behavioral Health changed from certification to licensure. I would strongly urge the commission to reconsider their direction in this matter. Thank you very much, Robert Hahn, for submitting your comment. And again, those comments will also be duly noted. At this time, we have David Swabota is present. So if he could, he would present his own comments then at this time.
Yes, good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity to present my comments. My name is David Swabota, and I am the Language Access Coordinator at the Arizona Supreme Court Administrative Offices of the court. We have found that courts throughout the state of Arizona, particularly those located outside the Tucson and the Phoenix metro areas, have a difficult time locating legal A licensed interpreters. There are a limited number of those interpreters available to the courts, and the licensing changes, which were to take effect in January of this year, would have cut that number of interpreters in half at a time when the newly required exams were not being held due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Renewing the legal A licenses for those who were not able to test during the pandemic would help avoid this dramatic reduction in interpreting resources. It will better enable the courts to comply with federal and state laws as they relate to accommodations and effective communication. And it would allow time for a greater number of interpreters to meet the new licensing requirements. I am supportive of the proposal to renew licenses, and as risks from new variants of the COVID-19 virus continue to be evaluated, I would urge the commission to continue to renew licenses until such time as the new required exams can be routinely offered in a safe and secure manner. Travel to and from those exam sites can be achieved safely for those most susceptible to the virus, and sufficient time has passed to know the results of those exams. Again, thank you very much for allowing me to present this comment, and I would also like to extend my thanks to Mr. Hahn, who made sure that we were available of this opportunity here this morning.
Thank you very much, David Swabota. Sorry for mispronouncing your name the first time around, but thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments regarding the legal A proposed language? Marie Tavermina?
How do I do this? Just talk? Okay.
Marie, can you turn your video on?
No, I can. I wasn't able before.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for giving an opportunity for us to discuss the proposed extension of the regulations. First, can I just ask a question? When did these regulations initially go into effect? was it 2017 or was it before that? Because I think we had like 5 years to get the appropriate certifications, correct?
Marie, this is Carmen. The language with the January 1st, 2021 deadline was initiated, I believe, October 1st, 2016 was the date that the language went into effect, or the rule went into effect.
Okay, so that means we've had at least 5 years. And yes, granted, last year we had a pandemic. I'm just concerned about the quality of interpreters working in the legal system. I've always had an issue with the number of training hours that were required. I think it's 20. And I've been interpreting in the legal system since the 90s. And I am concerned about extending this out to 2023. I hear the concerns that there's not enough interpreters, but I distinctly remember when the regs originally went in place in 2016, that same argument was said then, that we were concerned that if we require a legal A license, there'd be not enough interpreters, but that didn't happen. And I think as professionals, if we know that we're required to have a certain license or certification, it is on us to do no harm to the people that we serve. That's the RID CPC, do no harm, right? And so I think we should be diligent and seek the training that we need and the certifications that we need to fulfill the requirements that are required by the state. And the other concern I have is that people were saying there's additional requirements. Yes, we're a profession, we have to pay for our licensure, we have to pay for certifications. That's just part of the job. And I understand that the rural areas may have a more difficult time, but as COVID has taught all of us, there's video now, and so we can provide interpretation online, which many of us have been doing in courts in Arizona. So I guess I would just, again, we've submitted some written comments as well, that we're just asking to keep it in place. I'd be curious to know how many interpreters are actually impacted by this regulation. And the other point I'd like to make is these interpreters are still able to work in the courts, right? I mean, they have to work with a legal A licensed interpreter just in the courts, but in other legal settings, I believe they can still interpret. And they also have opportunities to work out in the community and other venues besides interpreting. So again, I'm just thinking, we set these regulations in effect in 2016 to protect the deaf community, to make sure that when they're in a legal system where they're already at a disadvantage, that they have interpreters that are appropriately trained and certified and licensed. So again, I'm just asking the commission to not extend it. And then, now the world is opening up. So people are going to be able to take the, at least the BEI, COC or CIC, sorry, CIC. And so once they get it, then they can apply for the legal A. So again, I don't see the impact it has on interpreters. And I don't think it's really going to impact the courts as, like we're hearing, because again, the courts are opening up very slowly and they're not up to speed right now. And so again, I'm just asking you to keep it in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. We have one other individual, Heather Donnell, would also like to make a comment regarding the legal A proposed language.
Hi, thank you for your time. I agree with Marie. I just wanted to second her comments. And I believe several of us have sent in a written comment. There were 4 of our names on one comment that wasn't read. I feel like that was a lot more prepared. I'm not prepared to speak today, so it's going to be off the cuff. where I feel like our comment was much more professional. As I said, it was researched, and I feel like it explained our concerns much more professionally, accurately, concisely. But again, I would like to just support the comments that Marie said. We've all had 5 years. Also, I am also a legal aid interpreter. I have had my legal license for 10, 12 years. And I agree with Marie and the other two of us who participated in the written comment that we've all known for at least 5 years. And I believe, I could be incorrect, but I believe there was actually a recommendation prior to that even to postpone the requirement to 16. And now it's being proposed to postpone another 3 years. With that 5-year notice, and again, as Marie said, we understand there has been COVID and everything's pretty much been on hiatus for the last year, almost year and a half. But that other 3.5 years, what happened in those 3.5 years to people who had the provisional prior? I understand anyone who's new, they've not been able to get that time this year and a half. But also, as Marie said, we make a lot of money. We are very fortunate in our profession. We can take extra work, whether it's legal or not. We have the opportunity to take on freelance, to make enough money to take the test, to spend money on training. There's a plethora of training online. Most of my training has been online this year because there's not the opportunity for in-person. There's plenty of legal training, very well, reputable, well-known, respected training. And I think that's just an argument that's just not, in my opinion, is not valid because we've all been stuck. We still have requirements, whether it's for licensure, for other certifications, we have to meet those hours. Additionally, my point was, sorry, with that was we earn enough money to pay for the testing. So then lastly, as well as Marie already said, as COVID has shown, we can provide remote interpreting. I personally have done several jobs through the court from home. It's difficult, but I think if we are able to, specifically for rural areas where the comment was it's difficult to find legal interpreters to be able to provide access there, set up a task force, set up a committee, let's go educate the courts, talk to their court coordinators or interpreter coordinators. There are ways to provide access. And I just think that the concern, I understand some people are at health risks. It's difficult to get to some of the areas, but the access that we have now with remote interpreting, I think that, again, that pretty much negates that argument. So I agree. I would support not postponing and giving more time because I feel like, again, we have to look at the quality, professionalism. And if you want to continue working in a certain field, you have to meet the requirements. And I think if we keep putting it off, people get used to that, thinking, oh, I don't have to do it. It's going to be postponed again. So I think we need to just recognize the professionalism for the profession and legal interpreting. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, if we just take 1 second for the interpreters to switch, please. Thank you. And I just wanted to clarify for those who, both Marie and Heather, just so you understand, the only comments that I read were the comments from individuals who are not present to speak, to share their comments. So just because your comments were not read doesn't mean they weren't noted. So all of your comments that you submitted, the group of the 4 of you have been recorded, as well as your public testimony today. So I just wanted to clarify why some were read and some were not read. So if that, hopefully that clarifies. Is there anyone else who's here, or do we at this time also want to see if there's anyone who's participating on YouTube who would like to make a comment about the legal A? And if they are, we would share the Zoom link for them to join this meeting so that they could make their public comment here. So would we put the Zoom link in the chat? Or I'm not sure how we would put the Zoom link up. They're not in the group. They're not going to see the chat. So do we have a way? Is it being shared in YouTube? Is that what I understand? Okay, thank you. So we'll just wait a second for any individuals who may be participating through YouTube to see if they would like to join this meeting. And is there anyone else who hasn't already participated who is here that would like to make a comment? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands raised or anyone else. So we'll just give it another minute or two and see if anyone would like to add any other comments regarding the legal A before we have before Emmett moves on to the information regarding the provisional. And if someone joined later, we could always take their comment at the end of the session. So how about Emmett, if you'd like to go ahead, would you like to go ahead now with the information about the provisional? Thank you.
Sure. Can everybody see the slide? So next I'll be talking about Provisional Class A through D licensure. We're looking here at the current rules, which focuses on R9-26507, B5, and it's in regards to licensure renewal. The current language states that the commission shall not issue a provisional interpreter license to an interpreter for more than 5 years over the interpreter's lifetime. Next slide, please. So here are our proposed rules. You'll see the new wording in red. I'll go ahead and read it for the record. The commission shall not issue a provisional interpreter license to an interpreter more than 5 years over the interpreter's lifetime, except that if an interpreter is unable to pursue RID, NAD, or BEI certification because the testing necessary for certification is unavailable due to COVID-19 pandemic. The commission shall renew the provisional interpreter license if any interpreter who A, complies fully with this subsection, B, held a valid provisional interpreter license in its final renewal year on December 30th, 2020, and C, obtained certification by RID, NAD, or BEI no later than the interpreter's renewal date as specified in subsection B1 in 2023. Sarah?
Thank you for the information regarding the existing language and the proposed language. So now at this time, we'd like to open it up for any comment. We don't have any written comment regarding the provisional changes. So are there any individuals who are present who would like to give public comment? Marie?
Hello again. I think this is a very fair change, proposed change to the provisional, since there is no way that interpreters have been able to get certified this past year, no fault of their own, and they really don't have other options if they lose their provisional licensure. So I wholeheartedly support this recommendation.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, so we'll give the folks who are on YouTube watching the proceedings a moment to see if they would like to join the Zoom meeting and make a comment. So we'll just wait a sec for those folks. So there's a question in the chat from Leanne. If you could read the proposed changes again.
Sure, let me share my screen again. I think it might be easier for you to be able to follow along. There they are.
Emmett, would you like to just read them, sign them?
Sure. I'll read the entire paragraph again. The commission shall not issue a provisional interpreter license to an interpreter for more than 5 years over the interpreter's lifetime, except that if an interpreter is unable to pursue RID, NAD, or BEI certification because the testing necessary for certification is unavailable due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The commission shall renew the provisional interpreter license of any interpreter who A, complies fully with this subsection, B, held a valid provisional interpreter license in its final renewal year on December 30th, 2020, and C, obtained certification by RID, NAD, or BEI no later than the interpreter's renewal date as specified in subsection B1 in 2023.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, it does not appear to that we have any other individuals who are in the watching from Zoom or from YouTube that would like to join Zoom. So at this time, I do not see any other individuals who are wishing to speak to make an oral comment. Is that correct? Does anyone else, any other staff, anyone have any other thoughts? There's no one in YouTube. Okay, super. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, well, at this time, shall I hand it over to you, Carmen, to close?
Commissioner Benton, thank you very much. And again, we'd like to, as commission staff, we thank you again for the written comment session. For those of you who participated, your comments are duly noted. And thank you for those who joined us today for the oral comment session. Your comments are duly noted as well. And upon the say of, I'm looking at Emmett and Victoria and not seeing any additional comments from them. I'm going to hand it back over to Commissioner Benton, and upon your say, we can adjourn the meeting.
Okay, yes, thank you to everyone who participated. It's all very valuable and it's essential that we have the opportunity to hear from interpreters and those who use interpreting services in the state so that the licensure rules can accurately reflect the needs of the community. So thank you to all the staff for all the work that you've done to make this opportunity available and for all those who participated. So at 10:37, we will adjourn. But one last late entry from Marie Tavermina and my cat. When will the decision be made?
The next steps will be for us to work with our policy advisor within the governor's office, and then we would be working with the governor's regulatory rule committee once that is done. So depending upon the calendar, Marie, it's difficult to say when this would be done. There's a process that we would have to follow, but we can certainly make sure that we're sharing any updates as we move along through the process through the Arizona Interpreting newsletter that we have, as well as on the licensure portion of the website. And at any time, feel free to give any of the staff a call, Emmett, Victoria, myself, and we'll be happy to share with you where we are in the process.
And is there one other opportunity, once the language is drafted, that the public can have comment? Will there be any other opportunity?
Commissioner Benton, that will all depend upon the direction that we're given from our policy advisor, as well as any participation from GERC, any feedback from the Governor's Regulatory Review Council. I am not aware of any additional area when the public would get an opportunity. The written comment session and today's session was to gather that feedback.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so any other questions that anyone has that they didn't think of or have the opportunity to ask, please contact the staff at the commission. They're more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So thank you to everyone who participated, for our interpreters and the captioners, and everyone who on the staff who helped to make this all possible. So thank you, everyone. Now at 10.